Charles Dickens. You may have heard of me. Chances are, if you've not, you live up a tree. As it was over 100 years ago. You have not, but my voice, my characters, my words, and your own imaginations. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you would kindly indulge me, A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens.
Stave 1, Marleys Ghost. Marley was dead, to begin with. There is no doubt whatever about that. The register of his burial was signed by the clergyman, the clerk, the undertaker, the chief mourner. Scrooge signed it. Old Marley was as dead as a doornail. Oh, but he was a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone was Scrooge, a squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner. Nobody ever stopped him in the street to say, "My dear Scrooge, how are you? When will you stop by and see me?" But what did Scrooge care? It was the very thing he liked, to edge along the crowded paths of life, warning all human sympathy to keep its distance. "Bah!" said Scrooge. "Humbug! Christmas a humbug, Uncle? Why, you don't mean that, I'm sure." "I do. Out upon Christmas. What's Christmas time but a time for finding yourself a year older and not an hour richer? If I could work my will, every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled in his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart. Nephew, keep Christmas in your own way and let me keep it in mine." "Keep it? But you don't keep it." "Well, then let me leave it alone then. Good afternoon." "No more work tonight. Christmas Eve, Dick. Christmas, Ebenezer. Let's have the shutters up before a man can say Jack Robinson."
Now, two smaller Cratchits, boy and girl, came tearing in, screaming that outside the baker's they had smelt the goose and known it for their own.
The spirit stopped beside one little knot of businessmen. "No," said a great fat man with a monstrous chin. "I don't know much about it either way. I only know he's dead." "When did he die?" inquired another. "Last night, I believe." "Why, what was the matter with him? I thought he'd never die." "Oh, God knows," said the first man with a yawn. "Well, what has he done with all his money?" asked a red-faced gentleman. "I haven't heard," said the man with the large chin. "Company, perhaps. He hasn't left it to me, that's all I know." "Well, bye-bye." "You went today, then, Robert?" said Mrs. Cratchit. "Yes, my dear," returned Bob. I wish you could have gone. It would have done you good to see how green a place it is. But you'll see it often. I promised him that I would walk there on a Sunday. My little child. My little child."
Scrooge crept towards it, trembling as he went, and following the finger, read upon the stone of the neglected grave his own name, Ebenezer Scrooge.
I, the man who lay upon that bed? Oh, no, Spirit, no, Spirit, hear me. I am not the man that I was. I will not be the man that I must have been. Why show me this if I am past all hope? Assure me that I may change these shadows you have shown me by an altered life."
Scrooge dressed himself all in his best, and at last got out into the streets, and walking with his hands behind him, Scrooge regarded everyone with a delighted smile. He looked so irresistibly pleasant, in a word, that 3 or 4 good-humoured fellows said, "Good morning, sir, and Merry Christmas to you." And Scrooge said often afterwards that of all the blithe sounds he had ever heard, these were the blithest in his ears.
"Well, it's only once a year, sir. It shall not be repeated. I was making rather merry yesterday, sir. Now, I'll tell you what, my friend. I'm not going to stand for this sort of thing any longer. And therefore, Scrooge continued, leaping from his stool and giving Bob such a dig in the waistcoat that he staggered back into the tank again. And therefore, I'm about to raise your salary. Bob trembled and got a little nearer to the ruler. A Merry Christmas, Bob. A merrier Christmas, Bob, my good fellow, than I have given you for many a year. Some people laughed to see the alteration in him, but his own heart laughed, and that was quite enough for him. And it was always said of him that he knew how to keep Christmas well. If any man alive possessed the knowledge, may that truly be said of all of us. And so, as Tiny Tim observed, God bless us.